Why not, right?
Let's have a
All
good
right.
time.
Yes, sir. All right, let's roll with this thing. Welcome back to another edition of The Sales Life. And today is my absolute honor, man, to TSL Nation. I hope you are ready. I hope you have plenty of notes. Let me tell you this, if you're watching on the video, I got notes and notes and notes and books and everything else. I am overwhelmed with notes, and I have another pen and I have another notepad because today, guys, we have one of the top influential sales and marketing leaders on the planet that is here. 30 years banging away in the sales game, and let me tell you something. And he will be the first to admit this. Sales is not just for those in the profession. Sales is a life skill. So even if you're not in the sales profession, do not bounce off of this podcast because I guarantee you're going to get some nuggets of wisdom from this man. So anyway, so one of the top influential leaders in the world. So much so, guys, that he is his teachings, his techniques, and his books are on have been taught and are being currently taught on 5 continents in 100 different countries. Now, if somebody can be the first to email me how many continents there are in the world, I will buy you a copy of this man's book. So, welcome to the TSL, to the Sales Life, Mr. Mark Hunter.
Hey, thanks so much. We're gonna have a good time. You and I just connect, and that's cool. That's neat because that's what sales is, connecting.
It really is. It really is. And you know, Mark, connection has been a tough thing for me because naturally I'm a introvert by nature. So I'm the kind of guy that you can give me a Bud Light, sit me in the corner, and you won't hear a peep out of me. I'm not Mr. Work the Room. How you doing? Tell me. I'm not the guy who really just naturally can talk to somebody in the elevator. And so I've had to break outside my comfort zone so much so, I've done over 600 episodes of the Sales Life, and most of those episodes, Mark, are solo episodes. And that may come hard for some people to do a solo episode, but for me, it was the safe route. It was safe because all I had to do was curate content, and um, I didn't have to hone the craft of communication and connection. And although I do it in sales, I mean, 22 years, I'm the best masked introvert there is because I can do it in front of a customer, but when it comes to naturally connecting and communicating with someone else, this is way outside my wheelhouse, man. That I've pushed myself to do this.
Hey, you know what? I can relate to that. I can totally relate to that because I really think inside I'm an introvert.
Mm.
I can hang out with myself, and I don't say that egotistically, but I mean I can hang out with myself for days on end and just be very happy. But you're right. When you're when you got to do sales, yeah, then you totally step up.
Do you
Uh,
find that you burn a lot of energy, Mark? Kind of flipping back and forth, like when,
uh,
especially, man, you speak to. Is it something that you've just grown accustomed to? Do you still get nervous when you walk on stage and you're the leader of Outbound? I mean, just you just have a massive following. Is that still something hard for you?
well, I wouldn't say it's nervous as you get jazzed. You get jazzed. I love right now. I mean, as we go through this, I'm going to get more and more jazzed as we go because I love talking about sales. I
Mm.
love talking about this. So to a certain degree, it jazzes me. It puts energy into me. But then when I get done, I just want to just stop. And
Poof.
I spend a lot of time, and I think every salesperson should do this. You just got to take time just to decompress and just reflect and kind of self-coach yourself.
Mm.
Self-coach yourself as to what you can meet, not to beat yourself up, but to go to the next level. And that's what I love about being a little more introverted. I also like observing. I am fascinated by politics. Okay, now I'm not going to go down a political road, but to watch social dynamics and to watch
Mm.
people, that's what I study. That's what I look at. That's what I watch. The dynamics of interaction, and I learn from that. And to me, I'm just happy sitting on the sidelines, just watching, just
What do
watching.
you what do you get from those things that you watch?
you watch the eloquence of words. You watch the dynamic of body language. You watch the receptivity of an audience or other key people. You see the bounce effect of comments and so forth. And those are very interesting things for us to observe because it tells us about how do we interact with society? How do we behave? How do we do things? You think about it. If you got kids, I've got a couple kids, and I can say one thing to one kid, and they'll respond one way. I say the exact same thing to another kid, and they will respond totally different. So it's the same thing. It's just amped up a million times over.
Yeah.
But that's, I think, what makes good salespeople when they understand how do dynamics come into play.
Yeah, that's the one thing that intrigues me about the sales profession, Mark, is I never know what I'm walking into every single day. Have no clue. But that's the joy of it all. We're in a largely industrial town, so a lot of these guys they work at the plants, been there forever, but they know every single day what they're walking into. And I tell you, dude, what totally just I guess it's a blessing and a curse. I think sometimes I think salespeople are bipolar. I mean, people look at us and but it's the volatility, man. It's being able to make the slight adjustments and being able to pivot based on the crowd that you're playing in front of.
See, you hit on something there because you're right. I mean, I do a lot of work with industrial companies. And you're right. That person who goes to work at an industrial plant, they want predictability. They want the same thing every day. And I look at those people and I go, wow, I just couldn't do that.
Dude, I die.
I just not my DNA. But see, to them, that's their frame of reference and they like it. And I applaud them. I absolutely applaud them for that. Sometimes I go, I really wish I could be like that.
Yeah.
And this is the challenge. This is a challenge in sales. We have to be able to put ourselves into the other person's shoes.
Ooh.
See, you really stop and think about that. And that's easy to say, oh yeah, walk in my shoes. But when you understand the dynamics that they are in, that they operate in, that their life evolves around, then you can begin to understand how they think, how they react, how they view what you have to offer, how they receive your message, as to whether or not they even accept it.
Guy Raz recently had Kenneth Cole on his podcast, and Guy Raz has a great podcast, How I Built This. I think he's got a book out too. And Kenneth Cole made an eloquent statement. He said, it's my job because he was asking about the crafting of his shoes and how does he come up with these ideas. He said, I create what I want to wear. He said, but what's important when I started is I had to walk in my customers' shoes first so that one day they would eventually walk in mine.
Ooh, yeah. You see, here's something. We all live in a bubble, and it's just a different degree, different size, different type of bubble, but we all live in a bubble. And it's easy for us to believe that our bubble is your bubble. My bubble is not your bubble. It's not going to, don't pop my bubble. Don't pop my bubble.
Right.
But so what we have to do is we have to understand. And so his feeling is, right, I want to be able to understand you so well that when I make the shoes for me, they'll fit for you. They'll be very comfortable for you.
Yeah.
But I can't do that unless I first understand you.
Yeah. So, and I think that's where salespeople miss it. I think many times in an effort to make a whole bunch of money, to make a commission, dude, it's the end of the month. I gotta knock somebody's head off. And so many times we're walking in our shoes and we just totally miss. I mean, we have no clue. And when you first start in sales, everything is one. It's peace, love, and soul, right? I mean, the customers are wonderful. Mark, when I first started, I had a 3-subject notebook. I think it was my first month in the business. I had a 3-subject notebook full of ups, full of people. I'm telling you, they're going to come back. You believe the best in all of them. But then as time goes on, the customers suck, they're mooches, the management sucks, they have it out for me, the inventory sucks, the commercial sucks, the owner sucks, everybody sucks except for me.
Right. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That is that. And see, that really comes into something, because what happens is our mind is now working against us.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. I contend that every salesperson has significant opportunities every day, but the vast majority of never see the opportunities.
Oh,
because for one reason or another, we just shut down, we label, we automatically classify, we discount, we no, and we make such rapid assumptions, and we lose out. And here's the whole thing. There's no way that every sale is going to be closed. There's no way you're going to get every sale out there.
mm-hmm.
But I can still learn from the sales I don't get.
Mm.
And I think that's what helps us. Years ago, in fact, it's funny, he was a friend of my father's, and he sold me life insurance at like the age of 20. I was maybe 24. And I bought a life insurance policy from him. And
you realize you weren't bulletproof anymore?
Yeah, well, and it was funny, but I bought life insurance policy from him, and I'm still not quite sure why I did, but I did because somehow he connected with me.
Mm.
And I look back on that situation and I go, here was a gentleman who was my father's age. And yet he was really, I didn't view him as my father. I viewed him as this guy who just really understood me.
Yeah.
He came to me on my level and helped me see the value of buying a life insurance policy at like, probably 20, maybe even 23. I'd only been out of college maybe a year or two.
So like 10 years ago.
Yeah. Just 10 years ago. But what this is, and it was interesting, is I got to know the guy. He said, every person I meet, my goal is just to learn something from them. My goal is just to learn something from them. Learn something from them to help me become a better salesperson.
Yeah.
Life insurance salesperson.
Yeah.
And I go, wow, because, you think about it. I mean, I didn't realize how ugly that life insurance salesperson job was back then. I didn't realize how, but you think about that. I mean, how many doors they must get, how many doors they still get slammed on their face. Yeah. And yet he viewed it in just the opposite manner, that I'm still going to learn something, even if I don't get a sale. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it really is. And learning from the experiences that or learning from the ones that don't equal a sale. Every customer that you talk to, it's not a 1-to-1 ratio. Okay, I talked to a customer, I made a sale, didn't make a sale, because in every customer, Mark, that we talk to, there may be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different lessons that I can take away from that, because there's so many different emotions that happen during those times that I could adjust.
Right. And the objective with that discussion is to earn the right, the privilege, honor, and respect to be able to talk with that person again. Yesterday, I was making some calls, and there was one gentleman I got on the phone. I wanted to talk to him for about half an hour. It was just amazing how we just clicked. We just clicked. We were talking about various industries and this environment we're in right now and so forth. And did a sale come out of it? No. A lead? Maybe down the road. But more importantly, I earned the right, the privilege, honor, and respect to be able to meet with that person again. And I will. And I made a note. I'm going to follow back up with him in a couple of weeks. And I sent him a white paper I've written, because I said, hey, I got some information. Loved it. And you know what? He popped me back an email this morning. And so he must have looked at it. So cool. Well, it's earning the right, the privilege, honor, and respect to be able to have a conversation with each person you come in contact with.
That's mind blowing. The right, the privilege, the honor, and the respect. If TSL Nation, if you take those 4 things in every single customer that you talk to, I would venture to say if you cannot say the right, the privilege, the honor, and the respect, if then this is where you're starting to lose your sales mind.
Right. And what it does is it allows you, because here's my objective. My objective is just to help people have a better day. In other words, I want to be one of the better parts of each person's day.
Hmm.
Because if I can be the better part of each person, I don't want to be the best part. I'll save that for their spouse, their significant other, kids, whatever. But if I can be the better part of somebody's day,
Yeah.
then wow. Then you know what? Something good is going to come out of it.
Mhm.
Something good is going to come out of it.
Mhm. If anything, though, Mark, even when, because when I told my mom I was going into car sales, I mean,
Oh,
Mark,
I
she
can
held the
imagine.
phone like it was like, hello, hello. So, but I got in. It's such the stigma is absolutely terrible, and I'm banging on year number 23. But I said this that every customer, Mark, that is going to meet me is going to walk away from me saying he's nothing like every stigma I had about a car salesman, when they walk away, whether they buy from me or not, is cool. At least they're going to be educated, they're going to feel respected, and they're going to walk away even if I help them make a decision to buy another product. I'm good
Right.
with that.
Right. See, now there's something you said there, and I love this because, I mean, I'm on this mission. You're on this mission too, to change the stigma around the word salesperson. Right. I mean, so many people you say, "Oh, you're in sales," ew. And I'm on a mission to change that stigma because I truly believe our job is to help people. Our job is to help. Our job is to help people see and achieve
Mm.
what they did not think was possible. And when I can do that, that's huge. That makes me feel good. Now, let's back that up a little bit further because there's an expression, a 2-watt light bulb looks pretty good in a dark room.
Mm.
Now, I mean, we've all been in situations where, man, it is just screwed up. And I love the automotive industry. I love it, love it. But there are some perceptions from 30 years past, 40 years past, that seems to never go away.
No.
Right. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
it's kind of like the old episode of WKRP, right?
Yeah.
What was his name? Who always wore
that with the plaid suit. I
the
can't.
plaid suit,
Yeah,
right. Selling advertising.
Johnny Fever.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, I got some
Yeah.
wonderful friends that have been in the copy, machine sales, office
Yeah.
equipment sales,
Yeah.
and they say the same thing. And they go, "It is so refreshing when we can come in, develop a client relationship, and change their whole view,
Yeah.
change that they suddenly, wow, this is like." And it's the same thing you have. It's the same thing that people listening to this podcast have, because you're viewing it differently.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, to me, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It really is. And I have customers who I've sold to who I've used some of these sales techniques that I teach, and they watch my show and they're like, "Oh my God, I love it." And I mean, they're okay with it's not, I don't have to have a separate, members only page. I don't
Right.
want to tell my customers because I don't do anything to a customer. I do it for them, and ties into what you say to help them achieve. They had no idea that they needed me until they talked to me.
Because the sale is built around trust.
Ooh.
See, there's a couple things right now that we have to look at. Okay, we're recording this right now during the COVID situation and so forth, and yeah, it's here's something that I have found significantly. This is the mark of a good salesperson:
Oh.
authenticity, transparency, and values. Authenticity, transparency, and values. There's so much noise out there. There's so much confusion out there. People want to feel that they're dealing with somebody who is real, an authentic person. Again, because there's so much fake stuff out there on the internet. Transparent in that they're being open with me and I can be open with them. values. They understand where I'm coming from. They appreciate where I'm coming from. And we probably line up that, or at least we have an understanding of that. I see those. And especially if you're under the age of 30, this is what you look to. This is, in fact, actually, that came out of a study that I was reading and doing some work on as to what, if you're a millennial, actually pre-millennial, Generation X right now, I believe that's what it is. I don't know what it is, but anyway, that's what they say they look for in companies. They want companies that are authentic, transparent, and the values align with them. Mm. And same thing applies in sales.
Well, isn't it funny how people just kind of, and then they take these younger generations and they're like, they don't want anything, and that's not true. If anything, no, they want what we never asked for.
That is so spot on. Because here's the whole thing, I can't sell anything until I create a level of trust with you. Yeah. And trust is built around confidence. Well, how do I create confidence? Authenticity, transparency, and values. Boom.
How do you, speaking of confidence, how do you, because we're in a rejection-based business, Mark. I mean, other than Mark Hunter, who scores 100% on every phone call, he gets a customer. The rest of us, slackers back here in the back of the bus, man. The confidence level, it can be overwhelming sometimes, Mark. I'm on an 0-11 streak, man. You don't understand. Everybody I talk to, if I offered to buy it for them, they wouldn't. How am I supposed to get confidence in these situations?
First of all, the valleys are never as low as you think they are, and the mountaintops are never as high as you think they are. It is amazing. And it's amazing how quickly they can change.
Amen to that.
Right. I mean, you can be 0-11, and I get where here's what I tell salespeople to do. Take a piece of paper and draw a line down the middle of it and write your customers, write their names on one side. And then write down on the right-hand side the outcome you created for them. Not what you sold them. Well, not what you sold them, the outcome. We'll say it was a truck, and it enabled them to expand their company business. It's going to allow them to no longer have to have deliveries made to the job site, but they can do it themselves. Okay. It may be a person that you sell a van to, an SUV or a minivan to, and they are going to have a third child, and it'll now hold a third car seat. See, so you allowed the family to be able to be in one car. It's you want to focus in on the outcome you create. And when you do that, you look at that list, and then you give yourself a big hug. You go, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Because what you did was you helped them solve the outcome. I got to share an automotive story. And I've had the privilege over the years to work with a number of different names and so forth. But there was one when my wife and I were buying a car. And kind of a funny story. We live in Nebraska. We had never owned an SUV before, but we thought, okay, maybe because I travel a lot, maybe we should buy an SUV for the weather, but it's going to be my wife's car. Now, my wife has two requirements in a car. One, unbelievably good heated seats and a phenomenal sound system. That's what she wants. The SUV portion was really just secondary. That was totally secondary.
Yeah.
It's great heated seats, and an unbelievable sound system. And it was amazing. Nobody would latch onto that. They were latching onto the safety features of four-wheel drive in the winter. All of this. Listen to what my wife is saying. She wants that. I mean, the sound system is more, and the heated seats, that's more important than anything.
Customers will tell you what it'll take to sell them.
They'll tell you. They will.
But you're not listening.
And I'm kind of laughing my head. I'm kind of standing here, trying not to get involved in this transaction. I still remember this one.
That's got to be hard for you.
I mean, but I'm just kind of watching this unfold, and he keeps looking at me, and it's like, oh, please, you're killing me. And my wife, and it was funny. If they had latched onto that sooner, we could have closed the deal faster.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, my wife said it. My wife said it.
Totally
But
missed it.
because it's something we didn't want to hear, well, not we didn't want to hear, we've pre-aligned. Oh, people buy SUVs because of the four-wheel drive capability in bad weather. That's what they buy it for. That's what they buy it for.
Yeah.
Mm, yeah, but that was like number 3 or number 4 on the list.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
It really is. TSL Nation, I hope you took note of that. Focus on the outcomes that you create. Speaking of that, Mark, during these times, like right now, we're recovering from 2 devastating hurricanes that blew up our city. And one thing that I had to really impress on my salespeople is don't forget, that sometimes, man, we lose sight of the importance. Sales is the lifeblood of the nation, of the world. Nothing happens until we sell something. There's nothing to produce. There's nothing to manage. There's no money to count. There's nothing with nothing until it starts with sales. And one thing for the recovery process, I tell my salespeople is do not lose sight of the impact, because we're creating the outcome. Because we are the beginning of the recovery. Because
we are.
I mean, if I don't sell you the truck, then you can't get the supplies from the lumber yard to rebuild your house, or to pick up your children, or to evacuate the next hurricane. It all starts with you.
Yeah. Now, I got to share a funny story. Okay, now I live in Omaha, Nebraska, which happens to be the home of Warren Buffett, one of the wealthiest people in the world.
So you live down the road from him?
Actually, he lives like 2 blocks over, about 5 miles away. And actually, his home, it's the same home he's lived in for like 50 years. So
yeah, I heard it's like a normal home, right?
Yeah, it's built up It's built up. There's a fence around and so forth. But yeah, it's in a very middle class neighborhood. Yeah. This is absolutely fascinating. This is a wonderful car story. And if anybody doubts this, go out and Google it. I'm sure you can find it. About every 7 or 8 years, Warren buys a new car. He doesn't drive much. His office is literally on the same street as where he lives. And he had been driving a Lincoln Continental. And Mary Barra, CEO of General Motors, came and visited him, I believe it was, or they were talking on the phone. And of course, she gave him, a little bit of grief, said, you should really be driving our new Cadillac.
Yeah.
And she quoted the model that he should be driving. So he sent his daughter to go buy the car for him. She goes to the automotive dealership right down the street from our house here. And she goes in and she says, yeah, my father, he has a friend who works for General Motors, and recommended this. Now, I didn't want to say it was the CEO.
Sure, yeah.
And says he should buy this car. And it was a lady, a wonderful lady, relatively new at the dealership. And so she begins asking. So she could have sold the car right then, but she begins asking what he's going to use it for. And the daughter, Susie, says, well, he really doesn't drive a whole lot. He drives maybe 1,000 miles a year. And, he's in his 80s, whatever. And the salesperson, she said, that's not the right car for him. That's actually too much car. It's technologically going to be too much for him. He would be better with this model here. And she put him in. Now, she doesn't know who it's for. She's just selling it to the daughter. And sells the daughter a slightly lesser model. And the daughter says, okay, great. So she buys it. So then she says, oh, by the way, I need, if you could come with me to help deliver the car to my father's office. She still doesn't know it's Warren Buffett, because undoubtedly it was bought in it's bought in a holding company name or whatever.
Sure, yeah.
And I'm sure she paid cash.
Yeah, I don't think
And
there's traditional financing.
yeah. This is not going through the finance department
Right,
yet.
right.
Sorry. You're only making cash one way on
Yeah.
this. You're
I'm
only
not
making
selling a
profit
warranty
one
on
way on
this
this
one.
sale.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just hope that sticker price covered it, right?
Right?
Right. She said, "Oh, well, let me get a hat. Does he like hats?" So she grabbed a Cadillac hat.
Nice.
And so now then she finds out where they're going. Okay, they're going to Kiewit office building. But anyway, and she meets Warren in the parking garage of the building. And she commented, because it was in the newspaper here, and I'm sure it's on, and he was more excited about the hat than he was the car.
Get out of here.
I mean, he was so excited about the hat over the car.
Yeah.
But here's the whole premise. Think about this. This salesperson could easily have closed the transaction, selling the higher end model.
Yeah.
But what she did was she took the time to listen, ask questions, find out, and put in. And you know what? I have a feeling she probably sold 20 cars the week after that, when that hit the news.
Definitely.
You know, can you imagine how her profile went up? Her numbers went up. You bet.
Right? Yeah, I sold Warren Buffett. Did you?
I just sold a car to Warren. Yeah, you bet. I mean,
Yeah.
I am sure that happened probably 4 years ago now.
Yeah.
I am sure there's still people going in asking for her.
Yeah.
And see, this is the other thing you have to say. The only good sale is one that leads to the next sale.
Oh, speak to that.
Okay. The only good sale is one that leads to the next sale. So what she was doing was she was creating the next sale. She created the next sales, plural. That's huge. And I have a feeling when Warren needs his next car, there's going to be a phone call placed to her.
Yeah.
And boom, it's done.
Yeah. Well, it's we can never lose sight, even though the transactions happen faster, Mark, we're not a commodity, and you don't need to treat yourself as a commodity. It's still a relationships business. I mean, let me ask you this: because you deal with corporate and government accounts. Is it pretty much vanilla? Is there no emotions? Is it just a board that you're talking to?
I'm so glad you asked this. There is no such thing as a non-emotional buying decision. I don't care if it's a contract. I don't care if it's the bid. I don't care if it's the bid. There's still emotion tied to that. There is still emotion. How many times have we seen, let's take a government bid. Okay. You take government bid. And I mean, we've all seen times when they throw out the low bidder. I just saw this in the town I live in, where it was in the newspaper just the other day, where a low bid was thrown out and they took another bid.
Wow.
Because of some prevailing circumstance that had been brought to their attention by the bidder that was higher than the lowest bidder. So here's the whole thing. Don't think for a moment in whatever you're doing, it's a commodity, and don't think for a moment that there's not emotion. There's always emotion, because here's the other thing. Never think the sale you're working on is the last sale. This is another problem. We get in, go back to this person, 0 and 11. I'm 0 and 11. I got to make my numbers. I don't make my numbers. And what happens is you get into a death spiral. And you just got to take a step back and breathe. Just breathe. Here's what's very interesting. Did you know that each customer you meet, you have exactly a 50-50 chance of closing a sale?
Really?
Think about it, right? They either buy or they don't buy, right? That's it.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay?
True. Okay.
I mean, right? So, I mean, when 50-50 and just because the previous customer behaved like this does not mean that the next customer behaves like this. See, we have to treat each selling interaction as a standalone situation. It's a standalone. And what I see happening is when people get into this 0 and 11 funk, they are allowing the previous conversations they've had to permeate the next one going forward.
Yeah.
Big mistake.
Yeah. Well, and part of the problem is too is, it's not what you did today, it's what you did, dude, 30, 60, 90 days ago. I mean, don't, I have these guys, oh my God, man, you don't understand, all these. Well, let's talk about the last 30 days, the extra lunches that you took, the extra days off that you took. You held a parade for yourself. You made a whole bunch of money. And now, oh, now it's a problem. Well, it wasn't a problem 30, 60, 90 days ago.
We always have to look at sales as similar to farming. You can never harvest crops without planting them first.
Oh,
You can never harvest crops without planting them first. And so you have to always be asking, what are you planting in terms of other customers? What are you planting in your own mind? And when will those eventually turn into crops that you can harvest somewhere down the road? Okay, I live in Nebraska. I can use little analogies like that. Okay.
so let me ask you this, Mark. These customers I get, man, they suck. They're terrible. I just I don't even like the customers that, that I am getting. I can't make any money off of them, and they complain and they whine, and it's just nonstop.
Well, they do, but you got to ask yourself this question: are they whining, or is it how you're listening to it? I mean, I'm constantly amazed how we hear things, and I mean, I'll use my wife as an example. Somebody will say something, and my wife will go, "Wow, that person really sounds upset." I go, "Really? I didn't sense that at all." Or I'll say something, I will say something a little bit loud, and the dog just freaks. The dog just freaks. I'm not upset. I just said something a
Yeah,
little bit louder. Okay.
yeah,
See, again, it's we 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 have a preconceived notion going into every conversation, and that just destroys us.
yeah.
It's not healthy. Not
No,
healthy at all.
no, and it's really really important. You almost have to treat your customers every situation as a dry erase board.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
and
that's a great picture. That's a great
Yeah.
picture.
I mean, because it really is. And if you think about the dry erase board and what you wrote up there, Mark, it's been up there for like 6 months. And then when you try to erase it, it ain't leaving. Like it's the ink is gone, but you can still see the traces of it. Well, that's our sales career. And so many times what's happening is all of the poor habits, everything in the negative, all these negative emotions that you've tied to your last customers, they're stained right there on the board. And so when you erase it for AKA a new month, a new quarter, your residue is still sitting up there because you did not treat those situations independently. I think some of the best salespeople are those who are in the food industry because even though table number 9 just stiffed me and they had a whole 9 top and all the kids crumbled every cracker that was in the basket on the ground and it just told, and they left me $1 tip. Guess what, man? The next table I talk to, I can't take that situation from that table and just blow up the next table because that person may tip me 30, 40%.
Bingo, bingo. I love that. I got to back up when you're talking about the whiteboard. I think the answer is you just got to get a bigger whiteboard. So no, it's okay. Anyway, but yeah, see that example, of a wait staff is so true. It is because and how many times have we been in a restaurant where the wait person, is carrying a bad attitude,
Yeah.
and
It sets the
you know,
tone, doesn't it? It kind of screws up your whole because
it,
I don't pay for the I mean, hell, I can cook a steak at home. It's the experience that I'm there for. And that's what the customers are coming to you for, man. It's the experience that they walk away from this thing. What is the experience that you want to leave on them?
see now there's something to run with. Regardless of what you sell, there's still a selling experience. There is a selling experience. I'm going to share an example, and I'll go ahead and use the company name, Blue Man Group. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
We've all been to a Blue Man Group. What a
yeah.
phenomenal show. A number of years ago, I was doing some work with them, and one of the end results that we came away from was we said we want to take the sales process and make it be just like Blue Man Group. We're not selling tickets. We're actually starting the Blue Man Group experience.
Ooh,
So we changed the vocabulary, we changed the act, we changed just we actually hired different people because it said if you can't have fun when you're trying to book this group or you're trying to sell these seats and you can't interact with them in a Blue Man Group style, um, it doesn't fit the model because we want the sale to be part of the experience. And it was amazing the results we had. Now, this is what we found was very interesting. Repeat and referral sales went through the roof
really?
because people had such a great time buying the tickets that they immediately called somebody else and said, "Hey, you guys got to check out Blue Man Group. They're coming to town. Or they're doing whatever. And here's and it or what happened is right after the event, a group buys it. A group would buy tickets, 50, 100 tickets, we'll say, to a show, and we would immediately follow back up with them right after the show. And oh yeah, they remembered the salesperson because they helped get the tickets several months or 6 months or 9 months earlier and put the whole package together and do different things. And oh yeah, we got to book again for next year. Oh yeah, we got to do this because we made it an experience. You know what? It involved emotion. See, emotion is in every purchase. You want to make your sale an experience the customer appreciates.
Wow.
And when they do that, what'll they do? They'll refer you. They will refer you in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's pivot real quick because we need another.
I know we could use another 3-4 hours here. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So a mind for sales. I would be remiss to. I don't even know which one to even hit on, but because for the purposes of this podcast, so hopefully you'll come on in the future and we'll talk more about this. Let me speak to a mind for sales for me personally. I had gotten away, Mark, from reading sales books because I was tired of the the baller lifestyle, blah blah. It was just no substance to it, man. I just got sick of that, and I came across your book on LinkedIn, and I hadn't read High Prospect Selling. Like I'd been following you, but I never read the book.
Mhm.
And then I came across a Mind for Sales. Patrick Tenney had posted it, and I was like, "All right, I'll try the book." And man, it was like one of those books I couldn't put down. And I'm telling you, you brought the fire back into me. I love sales. I love everything about sales. I just didn't like what was being written about sales. And you write in such a way that I swear, dude, it's like you're standing right beside me. And it's not condemnation. It's not hell and brimstone. It's not, you're not this. It's really, I call you the King of Zing because you have a way of zinging somebody, and it's like you hit me with a little left hook. It's like, oh, wait, you just hit me, and it makes perfect sense. And then now I can immediately apply it to my sales life.
Well, thank you. Thank you. That's quite a compliment. Wow.
Man, it was unbelievable. So let's in the few minutes that we have left, can you speak to the because I think the most important, if I was to take anything out of the book, was the success wheel and not to hit the reset button on on setting up your week. Speak to Mondays.
Yeah, the whole success wheel is first of all, success is not a destination. Success is a journey. And also, don't expect your manager to motivate you. Sorry, managers listening to this, I'm letting you off the hook. Now, what you have to do is you have to create an environment for your people to motivate themselves.
Yeah.
See, you have to motivate yourself. And what I find, the success wheel is about just getting rhythm, just getting things going. And I always say that first day of the week, I got to set an easy goal. And I talk about in the book, pizza goal. I won't, the whole thing out of the movie Tommy Boy.
I love Tommy Boy.
Just get the movie Tommy Boy. You
Did
know
you
what
eat
I'm
paint
talking
chips
about
as a kid?
when they talk about pizza in there. Anyway, and the whole thing is you have to set yourself up with an easy goal first day of the week, first few hours. This is so key because success creates success. Momentum creates momentum. And what you're doing is you're just getting the wheel moving. I tell people, I tell salespeople, says, man, I have a hard time picking up the phone, getting going. I have a hard time. Okay. Then why don't you make the first call to one of your existing customers? Make the first call to one of your existing customers.
That's good.
Hey, thank you for calling. Yeah, it's great. It's great. And you know what's interesting? That customer will pump you up. That customer will pump you up. And then you take a look at that list. Remember this list I told you where you write your customers down one side and the outcomes you create? Look and go, hey, I can make a difference. I can make a difference. And what does it do? Suddenly it says the calls I need to make to let people know of what's available or what's coming. Yeah, I'm doing them a favor. See, here's the whole thing. We can never forget that what we sell is really just, it's just the medium for what we do.
Oh,
because our job is to positively impact people. Okay, we talked about this earlier. I want to influence and impact people, and my product, what I sell, that's just the medium. You know, I always tell people, I says, you know, I could have been a plumber, I could have been an electrician, I could have been anything. I've chosen sales because it allows me to be in front of the most people, to allow me to influence and impact and be able to earn the right, the privilege, honor, respect to be able to talk with the people again.
right. Well, we are. I hope you would agree. I hope we can carry this conversation forward for a future episode because I don't even think I tapped my nose. So the conversation was that good.
No, but hey, you know what though? See, that's another thing about sales. Sales, we never stop learning. I am continuously learning. Last night, I had a full day yesterday, and last night I was capturing some notes for my next book, just ideas that were popping into my head, and from conversations I'd had over the day and different things, and it's just a good salesperson never ends the day without learning something, not having learned something, and to me that's a great day. Yeah,
it really is. Mark, first of all, everybody, TSL Nation, get the book. But you know, the $20 that you're going to spend on a meal, I'm telling you, invest this into your sales career. You must invest, and I'm telling you, this book will totally change your whole concept of your sales and your life, because sales is a lifestyle. It's everything that we actually do. So, Mark, if you would take us out with a final thought, and also tell others about your blog and also your amazing podcast too, man, that people need to subscribe to as well.
Yeah, well, thank you. Let's talk about that real quick first. The website is thesaleshunter.com. Hunter's my real last name. People always ask me, what was your name before? No, Hunter's my real last name. So thesaleshunter.com. Hey, jump out there. There's all kinds of stuff out there. The podcast I do is Sales Logic. We try to do it every week. Unfortunately, our schedules don't always allow it, but it's a great podcast. Meredith Elliott Powell, she's the co-host with me, and we just talk about sales. Anyway, but hey, the book is A Mind for Sales. And yeah, I really highly recommend it for people. It is. I get more comments back from people who say, it's just like you're just sitting there having a cup of coffee or a beer with me. And I like that. But hey, here's the thing I want to leave you with. Your goal is to know that at the end of the day, you've been a better part of each person's day that you've had a privilege of coming in contact with. When you do that, you will have earned the right, the privilege, honor, and respect. And the job we do is not to sell customers. Our job is to help customers see and achieve what they didn't think was possible. When we do, we deliver them an outcome they never dreamed imaginable. That's how we create repeat sales.
Mic drop. That's it. That's all, TSL Nation. Remember, the greatest sale that you'll ever make is to sell you on you, because you're more than enough. Stay amazing. Stay in the sales life.